Holy heck, I just played 3 hours of Final Fantasy 16 and it completely surpasses even my incredibly high expectations. It's faster, it's more fun, it's more beautiful, and it's honestly a lot more deep and dark when it comes to the storytelling. But let's discuss that. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. So they just surprise dropped a big demo last night for Final Fantasy 16, and it's about the first 2 hours of the game itself, and then this additional unlocked crazy combat mode that lets you play pretty deep into the game itself when you have a lot of different styles of magic. It is a good taste as to what the world of FF16 is actually going to be like. Now, this is currently being recorded 10 days before launch, and it still feels like there's a little bit of apprehension, a little bit of concern from the hardcore classic Final Fantasy fans, because this is an action RPG. This game is fast, it has dodges, it has counters, it has combos, but now that I've really played it myself, I think this does feel like old school Final Fantasy. I mean, straight up, during the opening cutscene, during the first big pivotal moments of this demo, I absolutely got reminded of Final Fantasy X, of being dropped into this existing, already messed up world and trying to adapt against all odds. Now, obviously, I can't really spoil anything about the story itself because I've only played the first 2 hours, but in the loosest terms possible, we are playing as this guy named Clive. He is a sort of princely style person whose kingdom was mixed up in a lot of different internal struggles and strife. His little brother Joshua is what's called a dominant. He is somebody that is imbued with a ancient mystical power of the Phoenix. Now, during the course of this game, it seems like our major purpose is to try and find and possibly kill as many dominants as possible. Now, Clive is a very, very, very talented fighter. He can dodge, he can parry, he can almost slow down time when he manages to perfectly evade an attack, but this is definitely what I feel like is going to be the most controversial aspect of the game when it initially comes out, is those who can play the game and those who can't. Now, they did put in all sorts of stuff that can make it where you automatically dodge or automatically do combos, but having played it, I think this game is extremely accessible. I played this on action mode. I played the game pretty much as the way I feel like the developers intended, and while I was hunting goblins and pulling off those counter combos, everything feels extremely seamless. I do also want to say I like this lore a lot. The developers have been doing interviews and said that they've been pretty heavily inspired by Game of Thrones. That is really something that shines through in the storytelling itself. Watching a lot of these meetings between political figures in dark dining halls and actually trying to converse against strategies and invasions, and then it all exploding in a big giant conflict regardless of their machinations. This feels a lot like Final Fantasy Tactics, in that if you played FF Tactics, it was a game that had a lot of different styles of tier and hierarchy and peasantry and how good do you treat the people and how important is the average soldier. Now that sounds very heady, but I feel like I enjoy Final Fantasy when it doesn't feel like it's trying to dumb itself down. Clive is a soldier, he is a prince, he is a fighter, and in a way, he almost feels like a Final Fantasy Kratos, him hunting down these deity-like icons, him trying to basically kill the god of earth and ice and fire and lightning. It's very cool to actually see these fights unfold. But they are kind of interactive cutscenes. Now, they only had one major icon battle in the course of this demo. While this particular fight certainly looks cool, it doesn't really feel like I'm the one doing it. A lot of it kind of just felt like I was tapping a couple buttons here to make the next cutscene appear. You know, like, oh, I pressed the dodge button, but it really felt like it had a very wide window to activate. Now, obviously, this is the opening of the game, so it's not like it's going to be super deep or overly tough so far, but I kind of want to see those further icon battles. I want to see those boss battles that are actually going to challenge me and motivate me and hopefully kill me a bit. I like to lose against a boss. That way I realize there is this skill check where you have to actually win of your own accord. Now, the opening of this game, you really only have certain abilities of the Phoenix. You really can't do that much. You have Phoenix Wing, and you have an ability to essentially teleport to your target. But after you beat the main demo, you go into this extra piece of chapter that skips about 5 or 6 hours into the game itself. And here, we actually have different styles of magic. So we can actually do lightning attacks, fire attacks, and earth attacks. The way we have extra defensive abilities and area of effect, so you can blast everybody around you, and even limit break attacks. Now, I will say, I think this combat is very, very fun, but I kind of wish the starting part of the demo had extra skills. You really just have an attack button, a dodge button, and a magic button, at least as it exists so far. The special abilities are all attached to your icons, which means that a lot of times when you're doing these fights, it kind of comes down to a heavy reliance on cooldowns, which makes that later part of the gameplay, when you have multiple icons unlocked, that is much more fun. I also will say that it's kind of interesting to see the Devil May Cry designer, the guy who actually made the combat for Devil May Cry, doing this Final Fantasy game, because it does really merge those vibes. This does actually feel exactly like Final Fantasy, but additionally with the elements of new school Devil May Cry, specifically when it comes to the stagger meter. So the way they call it is the will to fight. There's like this yellow bar, and when you're hitting people, it's not just about tapping them bit by bit till they die. It's also a matter of hitting them with the longest combos possible. So you can hit like 3 or 4 fast attacks, then dodge back, and then hit them with some fire to keep that combo going. Warp strike back to them using your fire magic, and then use a claw attack of the big beast inside you. And by doing this, it staggers people, and it lets you do a much bigger multiplied damage attack. I think this all works incredibly good, and honestly, this does exactly what a demo should. It actually is awesome because the progress in this demo carries over to the main game. So, I mean, we have all now played the opening 2 hours of Final Fantasy XVI, and also, it is a great taste as to the glory of this game. It is a good taste of what Clive is like, what this world is like, what the conflict is like, and honestly, I am incredibly invested in the story. This demo is 2 hours. About an hour of it is cutscenes, which is a bit heavy. I hope the rest of the game is not quite so cutscene heavy. I definitely like to play a game more than watch a game, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready to maybe even replay this demo just to watch all those cool cutscenes again, or maybe I'll watch it on YouTube because I'm actually just so sucked into the universe. I am so ready for Final Fantasy XVI. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts because honestly, I am so incredibly excited about it, and I am a big Final Fantasy nutcase. I'll make you guys a deal. This game comes out in 10 days. If this video gets 5,000 likes before the game comes out on the 22nd, I'll do a random giveaway. I'll buy somebody a copy of Final Fantasy XVI because this game is great, and I want to spread the love a little bit, a little drips of that Clive manliness. But what do you guys think? Have you had a chance to try the free demo on PlayStation 5? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Woo boy, life is good. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.